Alright boys, last 1.5 mags we get going through this thing. I have not experienced a failure today in all 120 rounds. Running smooth. 120 rounds, 0 failures. Oh man, that is exciting. What's going on, guys? Here we are with the custom 7.62 by 3.9 AR build. We have it working flawlessly. Finally, this thing is ready to rock. And I gotta say, I am surprised myself. I actually like this gun. It turned from like just a project gun. I'm gonna make something that looks cool, that's pretty fun and interesting. And then this thing's growing on me the more I shoot it. It's actually a usable, fun PDW that could get some like serious philosophy of use applied to it. This is a pretty sweet gun. As you can see, it is made to look like the Tomorrow War gun. It's supposed to be this futuristic looking 7.62 by 3.9 AR build, and I think it came out really cool. So when you click around on the internet and you start talking about 7.62 by 3.9 ARs, they get shit on pretty heavily. There are a lot of vocal people that are very negative towards this AR with the 7.62 by 3.9 caliber, and I guess it's not totally unfounded. This gun did not run perfectly when I first got it, and it did take a little bit of troubleshooting and tinkering to get it to work properly, but after it does work properly, it's pretty awesome. I think that the main problem is there's no 100% that I saw factory AR 7.62 by 3.9 builds that you can just buy a complete gun. So for me, this is a full custom gun. I bought the upper, I already had the lower, and then pieced everything together as I went along. This was one of the bastard children with the pistol brace rule. So I was like, well, if you're gonna screw me and I gotta make it an SBR, I might as well make it something cool. And here we go. So let's go from the back to the front, and let's talk about how I got this 7.62 by 3.9 AR to run flawlessly and all the components that I put into it. So right here, you will see a pretty cool looking buttstock right there. And on the end, you will see that I cut part of it up. Now, this is a pretty cool stock, but it's very gimmicky, and I honestly wouldn't recommend it as it's sold right now, unless you don't mind overpaying for the gimmicky stuff and then just ignoring it entirely. So the gimmicky stuff is, this originally comes with a nub. It's basically like an MFT stock with the bottom of it cut off. And then you just get like the larger square portion of a normal buttstock. The intent behind the design, it's called the Evolver stock. It doesn't really evolve. It just spins. So this spins highly needlessly. It spins. Now, the reason why it spins is because it's designed to work with body armor, plate carriers, or just a chest rig in general. And what these guys were seeing was that guys would have normal ARs, and then they'd have a chest rig right here, and then they would hold it kind of high, and they'd have just the bottom of the stock. So they were like, huh, why don't we just cut the bottom of the stock off, and then we can just hold it like that. That wasn't enough. It was not enough. It should have been enough. That was not enough. They then put this nub right here. It's a sharp, protruding nub that goes out about an inch, inch and a half. And what it's supposed to do is catch on the buckle or the webbing of your chest carrier rig. Like, you don't want your equipment catching on your rig, even if you intended it to. The guns aren't moving a ton as you're shooting. In fact, when you do have it moving, it's because you wanted it to move. You don't need to adjust this to the side so that this can catch the side of your buckle on your chest rig. I think that that is ridiculous. It's not needed, and obviously I just cut it off. With it cut off, it works perfectly with my chest rig, and it works perfectly without it. This is a much better product. If you just ignore this gimmicky rotational piece on the end right here, you can see that pulls out. If you just ignore that and cut the nub off, just leave this flat. I mean, this is made by Valiant Dynamics. Hey, Valiant Dynamics, if you guys are watching, just get rid of this spinny thing, cut this flat, and then don't overcharge for the stock anymore. Just charge like 60 bucks for the stock. The stock is way overpriced as it is. It's like 120 bucks or something. I would not recommend it as it is, while I do like the product. So we have a very nice adjustment system here. It's this little lever right here. It's very smooth. You just pull it down a little bit. That's actually one of the easiest and nicest little adjustments. It's very low profile, doesn't get in the way. That's a very good feature. Being able to take it off is also a good feature. There's a little thing you depress right here. So it is a good product, but it's way overpriced for what it is, and you don't need what it does. It's the profile that's cool and functional, and I like it. So I'm going to keep it. Obviously, I modified it, but I wouldn't exactly recommend it as it comes. Coming forward a little bit, let's go to the grip. So the grip is a pretty glaring aesthetic choice that I made, and that's actually why I made it originally. I thought it looked cool. It's a very technical looking ergo grip with the base pad. Now normally you put these on DMRs, like marksman rifles, and what they do is they have an adjustable base pad at the end of the grip, and you can adjust it to squeeze your hand up against the gun to allow you to get better accuracy and long-range shots. It supports your hand great that way. But actually, after I started using it on just this normal PDW, I actually really like it. It's heavy, it's big, it kind of goes against the PDW philosophy a little bit, but man, they call it ergo, it's very ergonomic. And I found that, like, this is not a very lightweight build. This is just like a cool build. And even not being very light, you can hold this gun very easily, and it's because of this base pad. So this base pad actually offers you a lot of stability to the gun, which is what it's supposed to do, but it offers a lot of stability. I actually really like it. So if you guys have some little extra money to start experimenting a little bit with your grips, this is actually a really great AR grip, and I've enjoyed it thoroughly. Shooting this gun has made me like it more and more. I've actually been like, maybe I want to sacrifice a little bit of mobility and like compactness and add a little bit more support, because it's pretty cool. I actually like it a lot. I didn't think so. Then we have the Radian safety selectors. Absolutely love those. Have them on all my guns. Just the 45-degree throw Radian safety selector. It's just like a given. Every single gun I build has to have that on it. The lower is just one of those Palmetto State Armory no step on snecks. It's just like a fun lower that I had. I just bought it because it was cool. No step on sneck with a little sneck on it. I don't know. It's kind of fun. So the lower is nothing special, just a PSA. Cheap, one of those limited time lowers that they offered. Have the extended trigger guard right here, just so gloved hands, stuff like that, easy to get inside. I put that on most of my guns too. We have the bad lever. That is a must-have on your guns. You can see it comes around, it's like an L, and then it attaches to the other side. So you can just pick up with your finger, pull the charging handle back, you can lock it back, and then just pushing on this little nub, you can send the bolt home. Nowadays, a lot of these AR lowers just have a bolt hold open and or bolt release on the right side, so you can just come up and hit it. This works. I've always liked them. We've had them for years and years and years. The Bad Lover is amazing. I honestly think it's smoother than most of those right-sided releases. I do have one on my other PDW. This just works more reliably and easier. Only problem is it can get caught on stuff. So if you have it up against your body like that, and I do have my chest rig on, it can get caught a little bit. My particular chest rig, I have it pretty slick, just like on the front, so it can't catch anything. But I could see how some chest rigs, your Bad Lever could get in the way of things. Now, coming forward, this is actually one of the most important parts of your 7.62 by 3.9 AR build. It's so important to get good magazines. I found at first I had the ASC magazines, and those were 30 round magazines, highly reviewed, highly rated. When you click around the internet, you go on Gun Mag Warehouse, and they have the highest ratings with the most ratings, ASC magazines. Bought them. They would just scrape their way in to the magazine well. They wouldn't release freely. Anything over 10 rounds inside of the magazine, the rounds would start binding. At 15, they would start getting like caught, and then at 25, they would hard bind no matter what. 30 round mags, 25 rounds, hard bind, and I'm using Norma and Igman brass case ammo. So I was giving this gun the best chance to function flawlessly. I contacted Jacob Gray, which is where the upper is from. So now we can just kind of delve right into the upper and the magazines together. So we have the Jacob Gray upper. That is the heart and soul of this gun. When I got that, my first range session, this was like a one-shot gun with the combination of those ASC mags, basically like a bolt gun, and then failures to lock back, and then once in a while I get like double feeds. So it was a very, very unreliable system when I first bought this thing. That's why when all this negative sentiment on the 7.62 by 3.9 AR, when I say that I don't get it, but I do get it, it's probably because of that, because when you buy an AR, you just expect it to run. But when you're piecing an AR together, it's a little bit different. They don't always run perfectly, and you do have to tune them a little bit. So I wasn't crazy disappointed. I was just kind of like expecting it by so much negativity. We did get it resolved though. So I actually contacted Jacob Gray, going back to the magazine. They recommended Duramags, and these are Duramag 28, and man, were they right. Night and day difference. As soon as you buy these Duramags, they just fit smoothly right into your magazine well. They drop freely. It's just fantastic. Night and day difference. Just changing that alone probably would have got rid of half of my failures without even touching the upper. But I figured it was a gas issue since I wasn't getting locked back. I even put like my camera in slow-mo trying to see if like the bolt was going back too fast for the rounds to even get caught by the actual magazine, because I thought maybe the magazines, you know, all that stuff. But figured it was gas, under gas. So they actually tried it out. They opened up the gas port, sent it back to me. They were super nice, very quick, like less than a week. Like sent it to them, they sent me a label, and then they opened up the gas port, tested it out, they said it's good to go. So I was like, all right, sweet. Got the gun back, brought it to the range. I also had the Duramags in it at this point, and man, it was just way more fun. I could get through whole magazines. I was getting locked back. It was fantastic. Yeah, so I was very surprised by that. I thought it was good to go. And at that range session, I was using an H2 buffer. They recommended the H2 buffer, the Duramag, and then they increased the gas port size. So I actually started getting failures around 90 rounds in. And I'm like, oh, the letdown. The letdown. I was 90 rounds in, no failures, running great, and then all of a sudden I'm starting to get the failures to cycle, failures to lock back, and I'm like, no. And I figured this gun gets very hot, so I figured that maybe like oil's just burning off, and it's just getting super dirty. The 7.62 by 3.9 is just, it's a kicker. It's a kicker. It's a very hot round, and it's fun to shoot. But yeah, so I figured it's something to do with that. Bring it home. I'm about to clean it, and I realized it's rattling a little bit. So come to find out, the gas block actually came loose. So take the handguard off, start messing with the gas block, and then I noticed that they didn't put any thread locker on the gas block screws. So it is dimpled, but there is no thread locker on it. Contacted them, and they said that they do it now. So what I think is going on here is it's a generational improvement thing from Jacob Gray. So they were very great to deal with, but I guess if you get like an earlier upper, your gas block screws may not be Loctited. You may need to want to do that yourself before you take it to the range. Make sure it's Loctited. Then they may or may not need to open up your gas port to get that thing running great. And next range session, it was now up to me. So I tightened the gas block, put thread locker on it, and then I went to the range and I brought both buffers. I had numerous buffer springs from just building ARs and stuff like that. So I brought a few buffer springs to see what I could get going and see if I could get this thing all functioning perfectly. And the H1 buffer, Geisley H1 buffer, braided recoil spring, and that improved gas port size with the Durmag 28s gives you what you see right here in front of you, and that is a fully functioning, flawless gun. Through now, I did like 120 rounds this range session, and then like 60 or 70 the one before. So we have over 200 rounds right now through this gun, which is not a huge amount, but it is pretty amazing that I've gotten through about 200 rounds without a failure at all with this gun, seeing as how the first range session was about 95 failures in 120 rounds. So yeah, we have it working, and that's what it is right now. It's the H1 buffer, then improving the gas port, proper magazine. So now let's look at the top. So now that we have it running perfectly, this looks like a Radiant charging handle, and I put a Radiant charging handle in all my ARs, and Jacob Gray apparently does too, because they just copied the Radiant charging handle. If you look right here, it says JG on it. If you didn't see JG, you would just think this was a Radiant charging handle. They did a good job copying the Radiant charging handle. It's a great charging handle. We have a plastic dust cover right here. Very positive. Snap into place, stays put, and has been great. That's an awesome feature. They do dome this, the ultralight. This is a 10.5 ultralight 7.62 by 3.9. You can see it's beautifully milled on both sides to reduce weight. I don't really consider this an ultralight gun because the barrel profile is huge. This has a beefy barrel. Hell yeah, it does. So this is a very beefy barrel. Other than that, it's a fantastic upper that's worked ever since I sent it back to them. They got it running perfectly. So for the price point, it's about 800 bucks. I got it on sale for about like 600 or something like that. This was an awesome buy. Just, you know, if you don't mind tinkering with a gun, so sometimes it's fun to tinker with a gun. You know, you buy an old car, you buy something like that, and you get to build it yourself the exact way you want it. That's what this is all about, man. That's what this is all about. Going into the Tomorrow War look, we have the CQR. This thing is pretty cool. I actually like it a lot. Similar to this, I bought this out of looks, you know? I just wanted this to be, like, if we're going to be in the Tomorrow War and we're going to fight some crazy-ass white armored aliens, I want more than 5.56. I'm going to take 7.62 by 3.9. I'm going to take 300 blackout. I mean, really, I would go with a Scar 17 if we're fighting that kind of shit. But, I mean, if we're using a standard size gun, just regular AR, this is what I'm taking. So, it was very fitting. I actually started to really like this foregrip. It's actually very confidence-inducing. It gives great purchase. This gun gets super hot, so I actually really like that I can come down further and just put my thumb right along the front of that right there. It does have a QD slot right here. I would not utilize that. I just like it for my thumb there. I actually do. Funny thing is, the back is kind of totally useless. So you have the front, like this part right here, and this is all utilized fantastically. So your hand can come up here, you're going to be grabbing it like this, and it gives you great support, great front control of the recoil and stuff like that. Love that. But you're really never going to put your thumb through and hold it like that. I never found even the slightest desire to do such a thing. I much preferred my thumb on the same side. So honestly, you could actually just like cut this here and here, and then you'd have this, and that would be an awesome foregrip, totally functional. I'm not going to do that, but you could, and it would be the exact same foregrip. This whole back part is basically just for looks. One quirky function thing that I didn't even think of is that when you have this on your AR, since it sits back here, you actually can't take apart your AR to change out your buffer or buffer spring, because the actual AR can't pivot because this thing's in the way. So I didn't even think of that. And so if you're going to have this thing and you're going to do the cool guy thing and bring it back right up against the lower like this, you are going to want to have a torque wrench on you, which I actually taped in here. So you're going to want to have a torque wrench on you all the time inside the gun, just in case you need to take your gun apart. If you actually consider this like as a serious use PDW, you're going to want the capability of taking it apart and cleaning it, fixing it, whatever, if you needed to. So that's something to note if you're going to have this. If you don't cut it in half, like I just said, yeah, you're going to want the ability to, which I think is weird that this has, like, it's pretty thick. I don't know why they don't just put an opening right here so that you can put a little torque wrench inside there. That would be a good idea for the CQR Gen 3 if they ever decide to make a Gen 3. Yeah, just open this up. This thing is huge and thick, and you could utilize this for batteries or a torque wrench to get this thing off to take your gun apart. Good deal. So now, I believe this is a Blue Force gear. Yeah, Blue Force gear sling, and these slings are awesome. So you just have a tab right here and a quick pull, and now the gun's totally loose. You can do whatever you want with it. I love the Blue Force gear sling. I've always used them. They're just so quick and easy. So now you can, and then you can tighten it up, put it around, and then now it's good to go. You want it just loose enough that you could bring it up if you needed to when it's tight, but tight enough so that you can take your hands off and just do whatever you needed to do. If you were in a situation, cue Kyle Rittenhouse. Yeah, so when you do bring it up, you can just arm out, swim out, lengthen. Now you can utilize your gun in whatever way you want. Tighten it up. If you want to take a shot, you can wrap it around your arm. If you want to take a long shot, this gets it very tight. You're pushing like this. It's throwing it into your shoulder. This will get it very tight for a long-range shot. I can actually take this hand away, and this holds the gun very steady. So that action of throwing it around your arm, tightening it, will give you significantly better accuracy if you have to take a long shot, which will actually bring us to our optic setup. So one of the things that I chose for this, I did put an extra red dot that I just had lying around. Was a Romeo 5. I like this red dot. It's good. It's pretty budget. I think it's like under 200 bucks. And for under 200 bucks, it's just a little aim point copy by Sig Sauer. I like it. I mean, it does its job. It's probably not the most reliable, the most rugged red dot at like 170 bucks or something like that, but works good, man. And I had it lying around, so that's what I threw on it. If you wanted to get this thing top notch, you could probably put Holosun 509 would be pretty awesome if you were trying to keep it lightweight, or just obviously EOTech, throw an EOTech on this thing, good to go. EOTech's pretty heavy though, so you got the aim point. Obviously, that's been amazing if you don't mind spending the like $700 for an aim point. Trijicon RMR would be awesome. I do like putting RMRs. That new enclosed RMR, whatever that's called, will be awesome. RMR HD on this thing, pretty awesome. Any of those options for optics. You could put an LPVO on this thing. I don't know, it's 7.62 by 3.9. They're not really meant to go like far. And that's where we get into this. So we have a 3X Vortex. This thing is phenomenal. The reason why I didn't go with the EOTech is because the EOTech is very heavy. This thing I do like way more than the EOTech. This is their micro, and it does have a quick release right here on the side. We do have a quick detach. It does go to the side, it doesn't go up and down, but I really like this setup. This offers you the ability to go out at range. You can get closer if you want a pinpoint shot, even at like 100 yards, 150, 200 yards. Once you get to 200 yards, that 3X is really going to help over the red dot. And the fact that you can just take it on and off at will, and it's going to work perfectly without it, reducing the weight. You have a nice little maneuverable gun here. Like I said, obviously I didn't go for ultra lightweight with this. If you want to see an ultra lightweight build, look at the PDW, the ultimate PDW build for the 300 Blackout that I have. Oh my god, that thing is just like feather light. But this is a lightweight build as far as ARs are concerned, and then you have that humongous, thick, heavy profile 7.62 by 3.9 barrel. Pretty decent. So, taking this thing off, throwing it into your chest rig. I have a pocket just for this thing so that I can throw it in my chest rig if I want. Then we come down to this thing right here that you saw on that other PDW build. This is the Hyperion K by the CGS Group. It's just a phenomenal silencer. It's just phenomenal. It's great. I've been tossing it around all my guns. I also have the long one. I didn't put the long one in this yet, but the full-size Hyperion, it's crazy quiet. It is so good. It's outrageous how quiet that silencer is, and it's just a pleasure to shoot any gun. 308, 7.62 by 3.9. I had it on my 300 Blackout and 308 recently, and just it's so good. It's like night and day better than my OSS can and Surefire can that I've tried before. Yeah, this thing is just its baby brother. It's so good because it's 3D printed and it only weighs 10 ounces. And it's direct thread right on to the end of the barrel. Direct thread right to the end of the barrel, 10 ounces. It's insane that the pointability and the lack of like bulkiness and man, it's maneuverable. That's what it is. It's maneuverable, it's pointable. It's so great having such a light silencer, and it performs really, really well for its size. For its size, it's performing way outside of its weight class. It's performing the size of cans that are normally like 7 inches. This thing's doing it all. Those 7, 8 inch cans, this can actually come head to head with those, especially when you look on that silencer rating. I think it's Pew Science, like the silencer rating website. Oh man, that's where it's at right here, Hyperion K. Put it all together and you get what we have right here, the Tomorrow War gun that they should have been using, which is a 7.62 by 3.9 PDW 10.5 inch barrel, ready to rock. Really love this gun. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you guys want to copy this build, feel free to copy this build. Jacob Gray, they may or may not have Loctited your screws, and they may or may not have to open up your gas port, but this is a very fun gun that works phenomenally now. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Catch you later.